things. Man, it is hot everywhere. And about 10 o'clock last night, noticed that the water got shut down here in our building. And the landlord called this morning and it's like, do you guys have water? No, haven't since last night. Oh shit, that means it must be leaking down there. Wondering if down in the basement of this building here, we didn't hear back from them, but we might not have water through the whole weekend, which kind of blows chunks.
You know how it is. It never, when you don't need it, you don't think about it. It's not there. But when you don't have it, it's like all of a sudden you need it for everything.
Yeah. Well, I had contract prints going on. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 8 printers or 9 printers today to get a job finished for this weekend, and it got it even in the office with the AC on and all of those heat beds cranked up and everything. Man, I just said, okay, I'm gonna shut the printers down for a while. I was getting ready to start another batch of the resin printers too, and it's like, it's Friday night, it's a holiday weekend, everybody else is going on a holiday, so I'm gonna take a break from it. Hey, everybody that's showing up, we'll be on our live screens in just a minute here. We're trimming our beards, our mustaches, combing our armpit hairs, and other stuff, if you want to call it that. I figured I'd let you guys in on the chatter before the storm. We're gonna put the kids to bed tonight. It's Friday night. Okay, let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get the main screen up. Hello, we get Taz going. Nope, that's me gone and Taz up. Hey. There we go. Hey, everybody.
So I'm going to adjust my screen again.
No, you're just off center a little bit. That's all. Now, with an exception of the one printer in the foreground right there, that's got the benchy on it. I'm probably going to take a blowtorch to that when I'm done with it. I don't like benchies. The benchy was a request from my son. He just forwarded me his new Idea Maker profile, and it's looking pretty good. And it doesn't have to be printed in a 40mm test cube to look good. So, I got something else going on here too. I want to see how well this works out.
Close, damn.
Just want to kind of show off the struggle is real, man. I just cleared out earlier today. I cleared out a few of the printers that I'm retiring. That's that's today's Amazon incoming, if that's any indicator, with an exception of a couple of the boxes in the background anyways. But yeah, relational to the printers being up. Hey, Tracy. Relational to the printers being up on the screen there, I am adding a new feature to the Nexus for all the users. It doesn't cost anything. I'm not making anything off of it, but it's basically a buy, sell, and trade section on the website. The cool thing about it is I can implement auctions into it if you guys request it. Hey, Grumpy.
What's up, Grumpy? So you're going to be like a swap a Nexus.
Well, the thing about, okay, it's like in my case, okay, my only greed in this, okay, I've been wanting to do this for quite some time because at any given point in time, I've got half a dozen printers that I'm just not going to use anymore. In a lot of cases, it's like the ones that are up on the screen right there. Those are a couple of my babies right there, and that's just one handful of them. I figured, well, I'm not going to try to put them up like on Facebook Marketplace or any other horse shit like that. These are all perfectly operating and fully functional working printers.
At least until you get them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Duplicator 9. It's the same build size as the Sidewinder. It's 300 by 300, but it dwarfs the Sidewinder. I mean, it's just got a huge footprint. It's a big monster printer, and it would lend itself very well to any of the newer extruders for doing high speed stuff. You could probably like throw a Nova on there or something like that and crank that beastie up to 300 easy. The
Is that
modification.
the ultra heavy one?
Pardon?
Is that the ultra heavy one?
The printer?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that thing's like 60 some odd pounds, man.
I think that weighs like a small car.
Put it this way: if I put a Sidewinder next to that printer, it'd look almost footprint wise about the same size as the Duplicator 6 that's just on the right hand side of it there.
That thing looks pretty beefy. It's like that.
It is.
Heavy.
But okay, case point, the steppers on that thing are twice the size of the steppers we have on the other machines. You can literally sit on the gantry and pop the Z up, and the Z will lift you up with it.
Is it running 27 steppers?
23s, I think.
23?
Yep. That machine, when we designed it, a lot of overkill went into that machine, and it's more solid than any of the other, I'm going to just call it the shit Creality style printers that everybody's making now. Everything is solid. You don't have to worry about any wobbling. I mean, that's, for me, as far as large formats go, that's been my primary set of large format printers. I already got rid of the other two I had here. That's got a rigid bed on it too. It's got a inductive sensor for auto bed leveling and everything. That works. The firmware feature works. I will hand Wanhao one thing. The firmware that they put into those printers is really nice and works out the door. You don't have to pedal to the community to get any updates or fixes or anything done to it. Solid machine. So and well, you see, that's one of the resin tables right there. That's half of the resin printers. I gotta shift a bunch more stuff around. I was saying to Taz earlier today, I'm gonna have to devote a wall to Elegoo by the time everything is all said and done. I'm starting to get Elegoo printers in like crazy, and they're starting to replace all of the other resin machines that I got. I'm gonna have a few of those to put up on the marketplace too, probably. I was going to throw the resin printers up for photographic purposes and things like that too, but it's like they're just all Duplicator 7s. Any
reason why we're talking to a coffee cup?
Pardon?
I said, is there any reason we're talking to a coffee cup?
Oh shit, I hit the button. I thought it went off. I wasn't even looking at the screen. Hey everybody. But
I just know how long I was gonna wait to ask.
No, I'm glad you did. I wasn't even looking at my screen. I hit the
I
button.
wasn't sure if you were like doing something funky in the background or
No. I hit the button and I thought I was up already.
You're on my own.
I wasn't. I hit the button already and I wasn't looking. And everybody will notice too that my printers are not running tonight. It is freaking hot here. Our the we're in the upper story of this building here. It's a old historical building that isn't insulated very well, and the office that I'm in right now, this part of the studio, the other part of the studio where the printers are, and then the lab offices all have AC in them. And even with the AC on, the temperature is still cranking 80 degrees. So out in the shop areas, it's well over 100 degrees. Doing pretty good, Ben. Thanks. How are you doing? Yeah, for those showing up, I'll touch on it a little bit later too in the stream. I had to bail last week. Part of the way through the week, my doggy died, and the way things work on my end, that's part of the family, and that kind of took up a few days of me just not wanting to talk to people, as well as dealing with other things too. So, I mean, I'm still not in a good mood about it or anything like that, but at least I'm able to talk about it. And trying to catch up on other things. I'll show you guys here shortly after we get a few more people showing up. There is a ton leaning towards the Anycubic Mega Zero. Any particular reason? Yeah, anybody who has pets, some people can just blow it off or whatever, but and on my end of things, they're family. She, okay, full disclosure here, she was over 15 years old. She just had a birthday, and she had a very, very good life. So, it was just her time. We've got beginning of the month for those that are into the Patreons and things like that. This is when they charge you. And in my case, I have a lot of subscriptions to different Patreons, as well as some other third-party non-Patreon type scenarios for models and things like that. And man, this month is just going to blow people away. Well, Ben, if you watch, okay, the Anycubic is what, about 169, give or take? If the numbers I'm remembering are right, they're about 169 bucks. Elegoo, yay! I need a little button here to do like a cloud clap or thing or whatever. Elegoo lately, randomly throughout the week, has been dropping the Mars down to 200 bucks. And yeah, that extra 30 bucks, I know, 30 bucks might be a lot to some people out there, but that extra $30 or $40 that you would drop on the Elegoo is going to get you a much nicer and more reliable printer. I mean, if all it's going to take is maybe waiting an extra week, to come up with that extra 40 bucks, I promise you, you'll be glad you did in the long run.
I like mine.
Yeah, after I ran the tests on some of the earlier models and stuff like that, and goofing around with the Saturn and happy with the Saturn, um, I started as you can see right there, I started replacing some of my resin farm with them, and before too much longer, that whole wall's going to be all devoted to Elegoo.
I think I've had 2 failed prints, and that was my fault because I didn't quite wrap my head around using supports on it.
Well, I browse around and traipse around some of the other just keeping up on the tech and what the other companies are doing and things like that on a regular basis. And uh, there's going to be some fights happening here pretty soon between some of the companies. I mean, it's already starting. Elegoo is kicking some major ass, and of course, for a long time, Anycubic, was on top. They had the bulk of the sales, and then Creality threw their train wreck out there, and
There's been a lot of problems with that one.
and that's really funny. I want to bring something up about that, and I have no problem. This is my fucking channel. I'll call out whoever I want. One of the people that's involved with one of the groups out there was trying to blame the problems with the printer on the firmware, and he even tried rolling out some horseshit that, well, this particular issue is inherent with all resin printers. Bullshit. That's called saving face, to try to save people from returning your fucking shit printer that you bought. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had one here and got rid of it within a week of it being here. It isn't anything special, and in all reality, as far as I'm concerned, internally, it's the lowest common denominator, which is typical for Creality.
Oh, I want to say there's got to be something wrong with the way the LCD is set up, or their lighting set up, because it seems like a bunch of issues with the way it's curing the resin. So that to me is going to be something wrong with the way the lighting is hitting.
The people who spend any great deal of time opening these printers up and working on the printers and even developing and designing them, the tech that some of these companies are starting to the tech that some of these companies are using is old shit. And in this particular case, it's like, sorry, artillery. We all know that the LCD on the Sidewinders and the Genius are kind of like um, old stuff. In the case of the Creality printers, the tech that's involved with the UV transfer through the LCD and everything like that, it's at the what I would consider the bottom line of acceptable. And Ben, okay, sticking up for Creality at times in this case. I had a flying creepy in here that I didn't recognize. We have all of our big bay doors open, so we're actually open to nature in the larger bulk portion of our warehouse and our building here. So from time to time, stuff comes fluttering through. Um, I've been able to make the Creality printers work. I just don't enjoy the amount of work that I have to put into making them work. Um,
Right. Yeah. Both my enders work great.
um, but I've also had a series of them early on when the Ender 3 came out, and for about that first almost year, um, it was hit or miss. I went through 10 of them that were just, they had different things wrong with them. And they were all manufacturing issues and things like that. Stuff wasn't cut right, things wouldn't line up, dead boards. Um, yeah, even on one of them that actually I spent a whole afternoon on Skype with my wife in Hawaii, fighting with her, trying to tell her what she was doing wrong, only to find out that the concentric wheels on the X carriage weren't concentric wheels at all. They had the solid ones on all.
Oops.
Yeah, so when we figured that out and everything like that, I had enough of it, because man, I practically paid for overnight, because it was my son's birthday. I practically paid for overnight shipping to Hawaii for this printer. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's been out for almost a year. They've got to have all the bugs worked out. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Oh yeah, they got it back. And I'm one of those people that if I'm going to return something, um, I keep all my packing materials for everything I buy ever. If I'm going to return something, if it's actually defective or something like that, being a business myself over the years, I know what it's like to get a pile of shit in a box that somebody didn't bother to disassemble. And you get more parts broken. I've even seen somebody that took a sidewinder when it got sent to me, for looking at for refurbishing. The person, they sent it in a bigger box, and it's like, wow, it wasn't exactly double the size of a sidewinder box, but it was like a third bigger. And it was like, what did they put
What's up,
in
Len?
here? Hey, Len. Anyways, when I opened the box, the person had taken the gantry. They of course they unscrewed the Z gantry from the base. But when they put it in the box, they put the base in the bottom. They used the foam from the original packing, part of it. And then the gantry, I swear to God, dude, they did this like a scissor with them and laid them down in the box. That's exactly how they came. And I was just like, I ain't touching that. Hey, Tracy. So when it comes to returning stuff, unless you really hate the vendor, don't be an asshole. If you hate the vendor, be an asshole. But the property that you're returning doesn't belong to you if you're returning it. And as a if you're genuinely wanting, a good product from a company and everything like that, you know, sometimes, bad things happen and everything like that. And, there'll be like a QC defect or a manufacturing defect or even, shipping damage or something like that. It's really no one person's fault. And they're not doing it specifically to send you a printer that, like is a piece of shit. So, yeah. Hey Tracy, is it hot in China right now? It's 10:30 in the morning, so it shouldn't be at high noon heat there. But man, on our end here, I don't know about where Taz is at, but we're hitting 100 degrees here right now.
Yeah, it's quite humid. I'm just
Oh,
hoping my net holds. There's been a whole week of cluster with my net,
yeah.
and it's still a cluster for some reason.
Yeah,
Our
well,
TV still isn't working.
yeah, well, Tracy, I've been seeing on the news that there's like you guys are going into flood season or something like that. There's like a lot of really bad floods going on there right now. Yeah,
Hot and rain.
I wish it'd rain. I'd settle for that. I'd actually drop all the clothes and everything and actually head outside.
No, you're close to a front coming your way.
Oh, you're checking the.
Well, I know New York's getting hit with showers right now, so New York, New Jersey.
Well, that's not
So
showers. That's actually just liberal piss. They got it coming. So, anyways, yes, everybody, I am full of piss and vinegar this evening. I've had a really rough week and just wanting to get back into it and get other things going right now. So, I'm just about ready to get into full swing with the resin work that I got going on and everything like that. Hey, kitty. What's the kitty's name again?
thanks.
Hey, Binks. It's a lot more mellower than normal.
Give it a minute. He'll get rowdy. He's gonna hit that mode in a little bit. I can tell.
Yeah, for those just tuning in and everything like that. Yeah, for those just tuning in, one of the features I'm going to be throwing up on the Nexus here, well, hopefully this week. I've already been playing with it and it appears to be working good. I just want to make it look prettier. I've been putting in a marketplace feature, which is essentially a buy sell trade. It is not going to be for resellers. It's going to be user driven. So this is so you guys, if you guys got printers that you want to swap or trade for, parts you want to get rid of, things like that, you'll be able to do that. There's going to be no charge for it. And the slideshow that's going on right now, that's that's one of my shipments that came in. Um, I've I've got a substantial amount of printers here that I am retiring out of my both my farm line and my prototyping line. So there's a few of them right there. Um, my greed that's involved with that is I get to put those up on the marketplace too because I don't want to mess with Facebook. I don't want to mess with things like Craigslist or eBay or any of that other horse shit. So on and so forth. And I've got to check something real quick. Um, when I get back, I'm gonna kind of take you guys on a little bit of a tour of some of the new stuff that has come out in the modeling and gaming arena of things. We'll also dive into the artillery competition, which is now closed. There are some winners for that. Congratulations to the winners. I'll get those guys thrown up on the screen here pretty soon. Like I said, I got one thing to do. It's nature call based. I'll be back in just a minute or so. Taz can turn his cat into a puppet temporarily.
No, he got away now, so.
Oh shit! If anybody's ever watched Craig Ferguson or anything like that and seen his banter back and forth with Jeff Peterson, yeah, maybe some of you aren't that old. Anyways, I'll be right back.
So if you got any questions, now is the time to ask. Preferably something I could answer. Because I think we're going to wind up with a weather report as soon as he winds up on his way back. Because we have to hear how he went through the entire warehouse to get to his washroom. So, well, that's fun. You're going to build a setup in your basement. Let's see. That's my working on a project right now. I'm not even sure what that is, but that was what somebody ordered, so I'm making it. And it's taking up the entire bed on an angle, so it fits. Honestly, if you have a solid desk, there's no need for a concrete slab. I mean, if you actually have a decent desk, like if you look in the screen, I don't see where I'm pointing because I don't look at the way the screen's set up. Maybe. Let's see if that works. As long as it's solid, like he has there, you shouldn't have an issue. It's when you get those rickety tables, like, a lot of guys want to get the IKEA lack tables, but they don't want to put like any supports on it. Them are kind of rickety. They'll move back and forth, and you'll get that vibration. So you need to actually secure them better, but I like to put it on something solid. So I have solid desks that mine are on, and I don't see the need for a patio block. But it depends on how you're. I mean, you're going with 4x4s. I don't see you needing patio blocks. Excuse me. Yeah, if your basement can flood, you definitely want something up off the ground. Yeah, that should be more than solid enough, Len. I got your message. So I don't see you needing a patio block for that. Because you're going to be facing them straight on, right? That should be more than good enough. Yeah, I don't see the need for a slab. I gotta move my keyboard because cat. Yeah, I don't. I it's more than strong enough to hold a printer. I mean, you could put like 3 printers on that one with no problem. Dude, why do you always pick somewhere I have a keyboard? No, you can't have my keyboard. Stop. Right around 180. That's where it starts melting. Yep, now he's gonna get it. No, don't be hitting my keyboard, kitty. Sorry. You're getting aggressive. You're getting aggressive. Show people how mean you are to me. This is how mean the cat is to me. Ow. Easy, buddy. Easy. Killing me. Let's see. Well, a thin top shouldn't make that much of a difference. What you got to worry about is your actual legs on your table. A thin top isn't what's causing your vibration. It's the actual movement going back and forth and the legs not holding it in place. So then you get the resonating. So as long as it's a stable platform, you should be fine. But he's in attack mode now. Like I said, Earl jinxed it. He said, "No, he's calm." It's about that time.
Calm is a state of mind.
He's in attack mode now. So, and I'm his only target. So easy. And you have sharp needle teeth. You don't understand. I know you're playing and you're teething, but you hurt.
Whew.
Really, you do. It's painful.
I need to get myself one of those hoverboards. Scooting back and forth, or a bicycle or something for going from back and forth in here. Anyways, let me see if I'm capable of doing something right for a change. And let's flip ourselves over here. Alrighty. Well, first, did I interrupt a help session right in the middle of it?
No, we're good. I
Okay.
already talked
Alright.
about it. He was showing a couple of tables he sent me on Messenger and he was worried about putting a concrete slab down. I'm like, as long as the base of the table is secure, it doesn't really matter much. It's not going to make a difference. He was worried about the thinness of the wood, but it was fine.
Well, these are the winners of the artillery competition. The grand reward, which is a Sidewinder X1 and a Genius printer, plus 100% of their proposed upgrade costs, up to a maximum limit, went to Diamond Cause. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I'm American. Second place, second rewards. There were two winners. They got a Sidewinder X1 and half of their upgrade costs covered. Kai Stenders and Al Matthew Remote. Third place winners, three of those got a Genius and 20% of their upgrades costs covered. Johannes Pigeon, Irfan Saeed, and Jose, you're not getting me to say that, Rodriguez. And then there's going to be 20 winners who are going to be getting filaments sent to them. Artillery will be contacting you through email for that. Yep. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, congrats, guys.
And let me go back here. Also, another thing of note, this is an image from a post that a friend of mine who works for CBD Tech or CBD 3D, they are the company that produces both Chitubox and a lot of the boards that go in a lot of the resin printers that are out there. I put a link to the article on the Nexus website in the feed there. You guys can check that out. I'll see if I can get that pulled up. Oh, new people. There we go. And for anybody that's interested in learning about this stuff, this is some of the things that one must take into consideration when designing, implementing, or upgrading a SLA/DLP printer. He put a very, very concise and information-packed article out there. You can get a little bit of insight to what happens in the background when we're working on this sort of stuff. And for some of you other people out there that get confused or outright bullshitted by some of the other manufacturers out there with regards to resolution and stuff, he goes through and explains the ins and outs of all that as well.
Cool.
Yep, it's good stuff. Check it out, and there's also some perks for purchasing direct from CBD Tech. A lot of the parts, whether they be LCDs or boards, the driver boards, the main boards that are going into some of the name brand printers, they're coming from this company. So you can probably save yourself some bucks and learn a little bit more by going direct with these guys. So just wanted to give him a heads up on that. And let me get back going here. Something I always wondered about, and never in all my years of doing this had an opportunity to goof around with this. We're kind of switching gears a little bit for just a second, only because this is where I uploaded it. When you're painting models and things like that, you can add the glow-in-the-dark pigments to stuff. You know, looks fine in the light. The guy that painted this particular model right here used a concept called OSL, which is called object source lighting. That's the idea of painting it as though there's a light shining down on an object, and that's basically involved using lighter colors in a radius of some kind, depending on the light source that you're intending on showing off. But what this guy did, he used glow-in-the-dark pigments to put some really cool hidden shit in there. And that gave me some really neat ideas for doing some other stuff there. He put a lot of work into that, you know, so kudos to that guy. And
cool.
Go back here. We'll dive into some of the other stuff here shortly. Like I mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of Patreon releases this month from a lot of the artists that are out there, and some of the stuff out there is just, these guys are going crazy, and for a few bucks a month, by getting in on their Patreons, you can get yourself some hellified models. You get the fly off Taz's nose, which is probably where I landed it. Ta-da! And I'm just about all caught up on my FDM contract work that I've been trying to get caught up on, so I can switch gears and get going on mostly the resin printing, which also kind of works into the casting that I do, the bronze casting and also the resin casting.
What's up, Mark?
As well. Mark Schipple. Hey, Mark. I had to refocus on chat a little bit there. My eyes are fried. I've had my eyes in all the wrong places, kind of like the song Looking for Love this week. Got too much going on. I get ripped on all the time. Okay, even for as hot as it is right now, it's still, it went up to 84 in here. It's because I had the doors open for a few minutes. How can I drink coffee when it's 100 degrees? That's old factory rat work there. Coffee doesn't affect me the way it affects other people, though. It doesn't keep me awake. I can drink it right before I go to bed as a nightcap if I want to, maybe with a little bit of bourbon in it. So what have you been printing this week, dude?
Did a couple of things. Working on some statues. Trying to get my painting down. Could be better, but not bad for brushwork, I think.
Well, I'm in partial negotiations with a couple of the other artists out there who even I look up to for. Doesn't matter how old you are or how long you've been doing this sort of stuff, you can learn something new every day. And there are enthusiasts out there that are just constantly right on the edge, bleeding edge of the tech. And if you can think or say that there's tech involved with painting, that's kind of always in the middle of a evolutionary state as well, you know. So I try to keep up on that, and if I kind of lag or get relaxed from it, I spend, you know, 4 or 5 hours just catching up on streams and stuff from these other guys. I'm trying to talk them in on showing up and or us hosting some of their streams, because I like learning new stuff too, and I intend on showing you guys as much as I can a lot of the stuff that I've learned. I don't know if I got this up or not. Well, kind of. Kind of, sort of. I'm in the middle of redesigning the back half of the paint studio there that I intend on using for streams and stuff. I got some cabinetry coming in, and I've got to organize paints. You guys are only looking at maybe a tenth of the paints and all the other crap and bottles and stuff and containers that I have. I need to get it organized so I can pull it off shelves and, kind of show the stuff off. And the paint booth that you're looking at right there, that's portable. It's meant, for me to take with me when I'm traveling and things like that. And the last one that I had, which is a much larger paint booth, met its demise in an untimely fashion. So I'm rebuilding a new one, a much bigger one that I can actually put a camera in from an overhead.
You're shooting my house with that stuff.
Pardon?
I said something. They're shooting my house with those fireworks.
Oh, I heard that in the background there. Yeah, we've had a couple of boomers here going on too. And I had just gotten, you can barely see it in the image there. I just picked up another magnifier lamp with a light on it. That thing fried on me. And then my overhead lights that Bullis was giving me some shit, like about a month ago when I was talking about it. I finally got those things in and they arrived dead. I got the things all hooked up and plugged them in and everything and went to switch the stuff on to start working and the bulbs were dead. They're LED, basically LED arrays, and half of the LEDs were dead on these things. So swap them out, send them back, wait for the returns, wait for the exchanges, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't know where companies are finding it's acceptable not to check shit before they send it out. Mark, if you don't mind me asking, if it's okay, which base are you on? Which state you in?
Yeah, I don't know. I live on the south side of Chicago, so it seems like it's either guns or fireworks. One of the two.
Georgia. Is it hot down your guys' way too? I know our friends of mine. I've got a lot of friends in Hawaii, and also my wife and son are in Hawaii. It's always hot. It's always humid in Hawaii and everything like that. But man, when it comes to holiday, if you've lived in or around big cities, depending on where you're at in the United States, everybody at one point in time or another can complain. Oh God, 4th of July fireworks are crazy. In Hawaii, they are fucking insane. I've got a video I can pull up. It'd probably take me just a minute to find it. And when I was in town, if you're familiar at all with Hawaii, Oahu specifically, there's mountains on it just like everywhere else. And where we were basically up on the side of the mountain at this home and looking down over the whole city which is basically the whole coast of Oahu, Honolulu and all these, and the fireworks that were going off. I've never seen war videos that even come close to comparing at the amount of stuff that was going up in the air. And these guys, they don't mess around with the fireworks either. Depending on what state you're in, and everybody gets a hold of the mortars and the M80s and the M100s and things like that. These guys somehow, some way, manage to get a hold of sticks of dynamite, and they don't do it for an hour or two. They do it all night.
Yeah.
As soon as the sun appears to be touching the Waianae side of things, as soon as the sun gets over to that mountain ridge over there and everything like that, it just all hell breaks loose. And that's kind of part of why my dog, who initially grew up with me going hunting and fishing, yeah, Ben, I say dynamite because it might as well be. You know, if you're familiar, you know, with explosives or anything like that, you might as well.
M100s and mortars.
Yeah, okay, you know, some people will say, well, you know, how can you get any louder than like M100s or mortars? Yeah, they do on a regular basis, and they get tons of it there.
Like some of the professional stuff is
Yeah,
crazy.
you could basically say that the general public gets and has access to professional grade aerials and noise making devices. And my poor dog developed a nervous condition from that. She used to go hunting with me. You know, I'd take her out small game hunting with me, uh, deer hunting, elk hunting, and things like that. She was used to shotguns going off, and you know, 30-30, 30-06, so on so and so forth. You know, even 12 gauges and things like that never bothered her. 1 or 2 years of being in Hawaii around the holiday season, and it's not just Fourth of July. It's Fourth of July, Memorial Day, um, God, Christmas, New Year's, Chinese New Year's, Indian New Year's, Alaskan New Year's.
And you would think that would be like hard to get fireworks over there.
Nope, nope. I
I
swear to.
mean, like here, I mean, technically in the state of Illinois, it's illegal to have fireworks.
Well, they made all the fireworks except for the crap you buy at Walmart illegal in Hawaii too. And you want to know what the
Right.
general populace said? Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
No, what I'm saying is that you can't sell, literally, you can't sell fireworks in Illinois. But everyone seems to make it across the border to Indiana and get fireworks in the Chicagoland area, that is.
Yeah, just like
So I can understand how we get it, but like you're talking like it's hard to get normal things in Hawaii.
no. That's you know until I moved there and lived there, I believed that too. Keep in mind, okay, where did the fireworks or most of the really good fireworks in the world come from?
China.
Asia, okay. It's not just China, okay. We're not going to rip
No,
on
I know.
China,
I was just
but okay, Asian countries and the a good 85 or 90% of the population in Hawaii is Asian. So somebody somewhere has a brother, sister, cousin, second grandfather, whatever, that has a connection that works in whatever. And if his sources run dry, you can go right down to the corner. And just like buying crack in New York or Chicago or LA, it's the same thing with fireworks there.
I don't know. Just recently, they've been stepping up their game around here with the mortars because it's been getting like window shattering. I think they're shooting them too way too low.
My, our neighbor, who, you know, I'm not going to drop any, you know, ethnicity on the guy or anything like that. And whatever, this guy without fail, 6 p.m., which in Hawaii, it doesn't get dark until about 10:30. 6 p.m. without fail, regardless of the holiday. Hallmark holiday, sweetest day. There's a reason for this guy to blow off fucking fireworks. I swear to God, you know. If the Waltons had a reunion on the Hallmark Channel, it was a holiday to this guy. I'm not kidding. Which would mean about 20 times a year, 20, 30 times a year. 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. It's like this guy constantly has an endless supply of the way too fucking big for anybody to be blowing off in a residential area, let alone in a football field, right outside our window.
Yeah. I just don't know. It's most of these people claim they're broke all the time, but it's like, how do you afford all these fireworks then?
Yeah,
And
let me see if I can get this pulled up here.
you can't feed your family, but you have fireworks. It's amazing. Did we lose you, Earl?
No, I'm off trying to find something here.
Okay, you went dark there, and I was like, okay. What happened? Yeah, I used to get fireworks when I was younger, and then as I got older, I realized how much they really cost, and it's like, I don't think I want to spend that money for that.
Yeah, let me.
I don't know, just not as fun as it used to be. I guess I don't know why. Because I mean, our neighborhoods would.
That's the kind of
Las Vegas.
that's the kind of shit that people blow off in the neighborhoods. That's a neighborhood that you're looking at right there.
11:59.
Nothing big. Nothing big. That could be anybody's neighborhood right there. Come on, show us the good stuff. I'm gonna cut the sound for you guys. You guys don't need to hear that. It's annoying as hell. Let's see if I can find the lame.
Well, see, I don't mind the pretty fireworks, like when they actually have display type fireworks. It's just when they start firing off just mortars for no apparent reason. It's like, okay, display fireworks are great. The loud banging rupture your windows fireworks, leave those out of it.
Yeah. Now this is Kanohe. This is actually a not as populated area of the island. You get this up here. Lame. I'm trying to find one of the mountain shots. If I can actually find one of the videos of the mountain shots, that's up a little bit higher, but this is still in an area where there's not as many people. And this right here, this isn't even midnight. This is just it. This is just the normal crap that people do all night. And now the closer you get to Honolulu, the closer that you get to Honolulu and everything like that, the direction that all of these aerials are starting to start facing downward and start getting shot through the streets and things like that. There's a little bit of a better idea. So if you got a dog or something like that,
Yeah, you forget about it.
yeah. And this isn't even halfway up. I know where this is at. This isn't even halfway up the mountainside. If you're able to actually go up the mountainside, you can actually see down into some of the other residential areas where they're lighting the stuff off like crazy. But okay, most of these aerials and things like that, they're not even making it up to safe heights. This stuff is blowing off, just like a few 100 feet over houses and stuff.
Where it shouldn't be.
Yeah. And like I said, depending on which holiday it is, after people start tying one on and this goes on all night and getting closer to maybe 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning when everybody starts getting a little drunker and shit like that. Like I said, the direction of the aerial starts facing downwards and it starts getting shot through the streets and stuff. It's crazy. But anyways, Mark, it's really funny. Another one of the New Year's things. I know. Okay, being part of a Filipino family, one of the things that happens at New Year's is right at or right around midnight. Everybody goes through. They open all the doors and the windows, and they turn all the lights on. And it's about letting all of the bad juju, the bad spirits, and everything all get out of the house. The look on people's faces when me, being the asshole that I am, made the comment out on the street. Okay, we're out on a street and all the families are out in the road, smiling. The fireworks are going off and everything like that. And my comment in the larger group of people was, okay, everybody's got all their houses open and all their lights on and everything like that. How do you know that you're not just letting his from next door into your house?
Always got to piss on someone's parade.
If there could be a dead silence in the midst of all those fireworks and shit like that, I actually managed to pull it off that time. And I also got kind of ripped on for bringing that up, because in all actuality, some of the older folks in the neighborhood and everything like that are really superstitious. I mean, it's real and it's serious to them. I wasn't really doing it to be as much of an asshole as I normally would be. Yeah, I was. I didn't think it actually have the impact that it did. Like I said, it actually got some people thinking, and it kind of, that's like getting put between a rock and a hard place and then a harder place. So where do you go? So.
Yes. We waited for you to go to the woods to go camping to stream. We knew you were going.
Yeah, Mike, I don't know if you caught it or not. I did post a little, someone had made an inquiry on the Discord server. Taz might have let people know last week a little bit. I lost a family member / my doggy during the week last week, and that really put me in a bad place for the rest of the week, and I'm still kind of dealing with it right now. So there was just way too much going on that was involved with that to stream last week, and hopefully now things are going to start to get back to normal a little bit. I don't need anything else going on. So
yeah, I adjust my speeds when I play around with speeds. I usually make sure it's still like half or like the same percentage as it normally would be from whatever I was running at. So I'll drop my speeds down, and they're not all gonna be running. Like if I'm running at 100, I'm not running everything at 100, because you don't want to have it taking corners at that speed, because it's going to cause all kinds of stuff you don't want, and artifacts and everything else. So.
Yeah, and realistically, if you have too much of a swing, if you were to basically just say, like, do a little 1 millimeter line, 3 times across your build plate, and run one at 50, run one at 75, and run one at 100, you'll actually notice that unless between those speed changes, you'll actually notice that the 100 ends up being just a little bit thinner, than the one at the 50 side of things, unless you make adjustments to your flow. I mean, if you start, bumping up to like 110 or even 120, I mean, it really becomes noticeable and a lot more difficult to dial in. Me personally, and just like Taz said, I try to keep my inner and outer wall speeds relatively close. Because if you do the math, you're not going to save much time. By the time you actually start, pulling up a noticeable time difference that isn't going to affect the quality of your print, you're not going to be losing much. I mean, if you're going to get a really nice, good looking print for printing for 15 or 20 more minutes, why wouldn't you? Unless you're running production and things like that, like I do here and everything like that. And even then, I won't bump things up so fast that the quality starts to go down. So we'll take a peek here.
You still there? I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, I'm here. You can't hear me?
You dropped off for a minute for me.
Oh
don't
yeah,
know
I
why.
was talking away. I was talking away from the microphone for a second there.
Okay.
I've got the gain on the microphone dialed way up, and it's kind of has to, or it's kind of involved with the fact that I'm used to my doggie being here still, and she's usually in the background going.
Yeah.
I can actually probably reset that and kind of. Whoops. There we go.
Kind of all the things that annoyed you don't annoy you anymore, though.
Well,
You know what I mean?
well,
You kind of miss it now. It's like, man,
dude, it's kind of freaky, and
because
even
we had ours. One of our family dogs died, and I used to get mad at her about like always being at the window barking like a friggin' maniac. And then all of a sudden, it was like always quiet, and it was like, I hate to say it, but I kind of miss that dog. I don't, darn it. I don't know.
well, I'm still, you know, after 15 years, I'm used to the routine, getting up, checking the water dishes, checking the food, and there's just a whole routine that was involved with me. I'm
Thank you.
easy. I just get up and get coffee. You know, the dog, is a different story. Got to go out, got to go to the bathroom, this and that and the other thing, and this and that and the other thing, and it's really weird. I'm mouse tracking in all of those directions and attempting to do those things. Yeah, when she was over 15 years old. She just had a birthday, and she's kind of starting to slide backwards. I the shittiest part about all of this was just a couple of days prior to it happening. I was talking with my landlord here, and just for whatever reason, I just made the comment, that she's probably not going to last too much longer, anyways. That was a thing that made me feel real shitty. But fortunately, when I was here when it happened, and my wife and my son were on Skype, we were kind of like all together for it and everything like that. So she had a really good life, man. She's been all over the world with me. Uh, yeah, she's been to Hawaii. She's been back and forth to Hawaii twice. She's been she grew up in Michigan. Been to Pennsylvania here with me, down south to Texas, Oklahoma, and all these other places that I've gone over the years. So yeah, she had a pretty good life, if you want to call it that. So, and that's WeChat. Hang on here. I'll be right back, folks. Actually, a Gatorade sounds really good too. I'll be right back.
So, how loud is that compressor you picked up? Is it loud or is it quiet? I just seen you post a pic, so gotta do some work at work. That's not productive. You're not supposed to have to do any work, damn it. Chance of the heat break and a Swiss nozzle. That's a good option. I kind of got carried away with buying stuff. I don't know what got into me, but I started picking up all kinds of hot ends. Different blocks. I figure this way, if something goes wrong, I get to switch. I actually wound up, I forgot I ordered a couple from overseas, and then they showed up. So the Amazon price on that is $500, huh? Honestly, I actually still kind of use the standard block. My favorite go-to for a heat break, I like the Micro Swiss. Those guys have always been good to me. I had problems back in my Ender 3 days with an all metal hot end. They helped me out, so I've always supported them. And I do love their nozzles. I really, rarely, knock on wood, rarely have to mess around with their nozzles. I put them on, I run them, and I don't have an issue. So those are my favorite. I like the Micro Swiss stuff. But probably my second on my list would be, ironically, Triangle Labs makes some really, really quality pieces. They do some really good machinery, and I was really surprised to see it because I was looking at the price of it, and I was like, yeah, right. And then I got them, and I was like, wow, they're pretty on par, and their measurements are and tolerances are really close, which is phenomenal for a low end company. So I like using their stuff too. So I bounce back and forth. I mean, like I said, you can't always buy the Micro Swiss ones; they're a little more expensive. And I picked up, like I said, a couple Triangle Lab ones I like too. So, and then I test them out on different printers to see how it goes. So, but you got a really good deal on that, $150, huh? Oh, so it was a nail salon one. Makes sense.
Oh yeah, the makeup stuff is big business now too for airbrushing.
Yeah, but when they're trying to unload it, they rarely sell it for what they got it for. So
Mike, I'm still waiting on feedback from those guys. I've plugged them twice since that last stream. I'm waiting for one myself too because even though I've got a couple hundred Army Painter bottles, I'm running out of some colors and everything. And for me, it's easier just to buy the whole shot.
well, I got a giant Craftsman compressor, so I mean, I got the compressor end of it. I can just run the hose, but I still haven't bought a gun yet because I just keep hemming and hawing. I mean, I'm still. It's like, yeah, I want to buy one, but I'm still not quite sure what I want to buy. Does that make sense?
I can save you some grief. Not that much, but
Well, I mean, I just keep looking. It's like, I want to get into it, but I don't want to like go. I don't want to go professional because I can't afford it, and then I don't want to go too low because that's just silly, and I'm spending more money later on down the line. So I'm trying to
What I try to tell people is there are a mid-range brush is about $100. Okay,
Right.
150 bucks. A low end, the $20 and $50 masters and whatever other brands they got floating around out there, they're not worth your time. This is just one of those situations where if you go too cheap, you're just not going to have a good enough experience with it. And fortunately, uh, Iwata has
Did you
a
bring me a soda when you get a chance?
Iwata has a model called the Neo,
I'm getting like
which isn't too bad. You can actually dive into better quality painting with the Neo, and Badger even has um, I think it's their Patriot series that is
you're getting a
about.
little low on your mic still.
Yeah, let me try turning it. How about that?
That's better.
Yeah, my mic was. It's a directional mic, and the mic was starting to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um,
Sorry, I was losing. I couldn't hear you. I'm like,
yeah. The Iwata has a model called the Neo, which is a good mid-range, and Badger also has. I think, like I said, I think it's in their Patriot series. That's about $80. But lately, I've been watching on Amazon and also Michaels. Now, you've got a Michaels. Now, this is for United States people. You've got Michaels out your way, don't you? The craft
yeah,
stores.
you're gonna
Mi-
get a bunch of them.
Michaels very frequently has like those 20% off or 40% off online coupons that they dish out or that they have in the store. You can use them. They carry a lot of airbrushes. And one of the replacements that I got last time, the Iwata's about 150 bucks. And with the coupon and everything, I got it for like $109.
Yeah,
So,
you're showing that special edition one that kind of interested me. I was like, okay, I'll wait for that.
well, that special, the gold one,
Yeah,
yeah, let me show it to everybody. Why not?
I was interested in that one. I was like, I don't know. I
Well,
like
there's
that one.
only 80 of them left right now as of earlier today. Where is it? Yeah, right there.
I was thinking, maybe, 3D Nexus would send me like a gift, but
I get one first. I still haven't dropped the hammer. Like I said, there's only 80 of them left, but they're not going to ship until September, October, November.
uh,
So the regular Sotar you can actually get right now for like 120 bucks on Amazon. So, and now I'll tell you something about the Sotar. The F version has, which basically translates into the fine needle, isn't much better, and in some cases it's a little bit more of a pain in the ass to use than the Iwata Eclipse. For overall, fine detail work and everything like that, you can hone the Eclipse down. It just seems to be a little bit better with refining small areas. That's, I'm used to using them too. The other thing I'll point out to you too, if you look at the trigger on this Sotar right here, to somebody who doesn't know any better, they're not going to think twice about it. But the trigger on this thing is really tall,
yeah, it's pretty high.
and that runs into basically fatigue. And when you're doing some really strange angle work and things like that, when you're kind of having to roll your finger up really high and everything like that.
Now this is a 2-stage, right?
Yeah.
So you're initially the first part is the air, and then the second part's
Yep.
the paint, right?
We have a
I'm
little,
just-
yeah, we have a little song. We have a little song that we chime while we're painting. We're, air, 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 paint, paint, air, 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 paint, paint, air, air, paint, 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 air. That's a technique. No, no, no. Sotar Mark is the model that Badger puts out. It's one of their finer detail brushes. Yeah, the Sotar is the model that Badger puts out. The downside of Badger too, bless their little United States monkey hearts, all of their stuff is proprietary too. So there's a lot of readily and easily acquired adapters and things like that that you can get on Amazon for your Iwata brushes and some of the other brush brands that are out there a lot easier versus anytime you run Badger stuff you have to have a different connector, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. It's not that the stuff can't be acquired, it's just yet another set of stuff that you got to think about picking up. And most of the airbrush compressors, most of the manifolds and things like that you get are set up for the other brands. So let me go back here.
Yeah, see, I get intimidated with this stuff. I'll be honest with the airbrushes. I mean, I don't know why it intimidates me more than a printer does, but it does.
Well, I mentioned in some of the. Let me get going here.
I mean, I'll tear apart my car, but I'm intimidated by an airbrush. I don't know. I don't know why. It's like I don't want to buy the wrong one. It's like I just don't want to get the wrong one and be like mad.
Well, yeah, like I said, you can't. Okay, whether you decide to go with Badger, like I said, their Patriot series, or even the Sotar, if you want to jump up that high. The regular Sotar is black, by the way. The Badger Sotar or the Iwata Neo, which, like I said, is $50-$70, or take your time and fork out. Everybody that ends up transcending, my take on it is normally I'll buy like a cheaper tool if I can get the same work quality out of it while I'm learning, because then if I screw it up, no harm, no foul. But with airbrushes, if you get a shitty brush, you're just not going to be able to, you're not going to get enjoyment out of it. You're going to be struggling with certain
yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's why I was intimidated by it. It's like, okay, I don't want to go too cheap, but I don't want to, spend a fortune on it. I'm trying to find that middle of the road, and it just seems like you look at it and then I question myself every time I'm like ready to pull a trigger. I'm like, yeah, this looks good, but am I going to be happy with it? And then I just don't buy it. I'm like, forget it.
Well, and I plug Kenny Boucher. There's a lot of his videos in the video libraries on the 3D Nexus. I plug him a lot, okay, because he's basically rolling out all the hints, tricks, tips, secrets, and he's even taught this old dog some new tricks over the last few years, because I've airbrushed for a long time and then I put it down. I didn't touch it for about 10 years. And I just decided to get back into it and started picking it back up a few years ago and everything like that. And I just happened to cross Kenny, and holy shit, did I have catching up to do. And, I've got hours and hours of, just indirectly and directly for a little while there picking his brain on, some of the things that's going on. We can do things now with airbrushes that we never dreamt were possible before. And the cool thing about Kenny, especially for any of you guys, anyone else out there that's watching and listening, go to the Nexus and go to the modeling section and check out these areas. There's going to be some more coming pretty soon. Kenny has a real no bullshit approach to.
Is your airbrush clogging on you and being a general dick? Well, I got some tips for you.
How did you like that? He doesn't pull any punches. He just says it like it is, and realistically, that's what a lot of people need. In the printing crowd, there's not enough of that. That's why we've got, some of these bottom feeders and rats and shit like that, creeping in and out of the groups and the forums and, the communities all the time, pulling their shit because people are afraid of hurting other people's feelings, and I'm not all about that. So,
No, I'm not afraid of hurting anybody's feelings, but because I'll tell you how it is. But
well,
like I said, that's why I was intimidated because it's like, well, you hear, oh yeah, this is good, and then you're like, okay. And I've gotten sucked down those roads. I've been there.
well, there's also, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there's also a lot of, just like the 3D printing crowd, there's also a lot of, in any field, including the gaming, the modeling, the painting community, there are the reviewers out there that's their only job is to review shit. So, they're getting a free airbrush, they're getting a free set of tools or something like that to plug on their YouTube channel. And for somebody who, doesn't know anything about this stuff, it takes a while to get up to speed with, who you should be listening to or maybe who you shouldn't. And all I tell people is just look at the quality of the work.
Right.
Okay. I had all Badgers and Pache airbrushes before. I never touched Iwata until, I got turned on to it from Kenny. And I didn't just go by what he was saying, because me being the conspiracy theorist and everything, it was like I dug into it. And it was actually the use. I just went ahead and said, okay, fuck it, I'll buy it. I bought it, and as soon, having a little bit of experience before with the airbrushes, as soon as I hooked the thing up and started playing with it, I could tell right away that this was kind of like the next level, which that's the name of his channel is Next Level Painting too. Shameless plug
Right.
for Kenny, yay! But
No, like I said, I mean, not that I don't trust you or what have you. I'm like stuck, and it's like every time I go to pull a trigger, I bail. It's like I just shied away from it. I don't know why. It's one of those weird things with painting. I don't know why.
well,
I mean, I could paint a car tomorrow.
yeah, well, another
But I
guy,
couldn't airbrush one, so I'm a little worried.
another guy that got turned on to airbrushing that was kind of like one of the last known hand painting defenders out there, I'll call him, was this guy right here. It's in the model painting section. And this video here specifically, he talks about how freaked out he was by kind of altering some of his new or some of his old, set in ways of doing things that changed the way he started looking at things, and basically ended up, not being afraid to try something new. But where is it? It's here somewhere. There's hundreds of videos.
I never get to hear it
Oh.
because I get the channel muted. So, just so you know,
Never get to hear what?
whatever you play on
Oh.
our channel, because I got it muted so it doesn't feed back into you.
Gotcha. Okay. This other guy here too. This guy, Black Magic Crafts. He's a well-known modeler that is well known for basically making hobo models and terrain. The cheap route, the handcrafted route for all this stuff, instead of using 3D models and things like that to do everything. And a couple of his more recent videos on his channel, he's basically talking about how freaked out he was and how reluctant he was to pick up an airbrush. And 10-15 minutes after playing with it, now this is a person who was a novice, never had really played with this stuff before. The guy, fell in love with it, and most of the other airbrush channels ended up being Pornhub level enjoyment for the guy. So check out some of the, and this is for anybody out there, check out some of the videos that these guys put out and everything like that, and just, bounce through some of them, and if anything, you can tell when somebody's really enthusiastic and they're pushing something that they believe in as a, something quality versus
Right.
somebody who's just reviewing some shit just to get some YouTube hits. Yeah, and you can tell when somebody's working with something, if they're fumbling around with shit and, it's like, I just got a new printer and I'm unboxing it and I'm fucking clueless how to put it together. Yeah, so you can tell the difference. Anyways,
I'm leaving that alone.
yeah, you better. They know who it's directed towards. Let me dig into this. One of the... Do I got them in here? Do I got Raging Heroes in here? Yeah, Raging Heroes. I wanted to touch base with some of you guys on, again, this is the beginning of the month. All the new Patreons are out. I'm adding more this week. There's actually going to be another armful of them actually put on the site. But you can actually go to some of their Patreons for these guys. And this one entity right here, Raging Heroes, has... talk about bumping the game up. That is a huge, huge model. The miniatures that you're looking at right there, those are 28 millimeter. And because we work with 3D printing and things like that, you can change them and make them any size you want. But just to give you an idea, the scale of some of this stuff that you can, do. What I wanted to point out, though, was... As a matter of fact, I've got this one printing, or in line to actually print. I've got actually most of this series that's getting ready to get printed. They just released... Let me go on Patreon here. I know you don't have sound, Taz, but... see if I can get it to go to YouTube. There we go.
Yeah, because if I actually had it on, it would screw up your feed. So, I mean, you'll get it back through our microphone, and you don't want that. There's some cool details on that.
There are some F-bombing awesome details on these models.
That's excellent looking. Wow.
And it's going to be a challenge to print, too.
Yeah,
Okay?
I can see that. I don't know. I've gotten pretty good with the Elegoo. I do say so myself. Oh, crap. I'll be right back. I just thought of something.
Okay. That's all right. I'm just going to be taking people on a tour of...
I just remembered I left something somewhere.
taking people on a little bit of a tour of what's going on with some of the Patreon releases this month. Titan Forge. There we go. Yeah, I mean, if you want some models to print, and folks, you don't want to try FDM printers with this stuff. Some of the noobs that are out there that are saying, "Oh, you can get good prints with a FDM printer." No, not this stuff. You gotta start thinking about going resin. It's just kind of a waste of time and resources for getting the level of detail and quality with some of this stuff. Well, Mark, my specialty in the background, even, before getting into all these models and things like that, I mean, I've been doing this since the, 90s. My specialty is archaeological research, restoration, and design of, small and intricate details like Celtic knotwork and stuff like that. So me needing and requiring to push the envelope and learn how to transition these technologies, the 3D printing, over to the work that I do and everything like that has been, really important. And I'll just tell you, I haven't found any models yet that you can't print. It's just you do need, and this is, some of the stuff that we're going to be touching with on our videos and our live streams and things like that, is teaching you guys how to do this. I'm going to be doing very little on the beginner side of thing, because anybody can do that. The diving right in and getting into this level of detail work and things like that, it's not as scary as you think. And if you just follow some simple rules along the way and things like that, you'll jump right into being able to print this stuff up and not have any worries or issues with doing it. There are, in our video libraries on the Nexus website, there's sections that are devoted specifically to one of the key aspects, or the key things that are involved with doing this stuff, are the supports. The supports are, think of yourself, whether you want to or not, as an artist. You are going to learn, and you're going to have to develop a little bit of artistry when it comes to learning how to properly do supports on these models. And before you know it, with some repetition and just using the right, or getting the right information, you'll become what I consider a craftsman. An artist can create something new out of nothing. A craftsman can be a artist that does things over and over and over again, and you can expect and get the same results each and every time. So it takes a little, it just takes a little bit of dedication. That guy's going on the printer tomorrow. I have an uncle that looks exactly like that. Oh yeah, man, I'm all about dwarves. This particular Titan Forge, they always throw in, with their model sets and things like that, options. So basically, as you can see, some of the similar models, you can actually swap out, different weapons, so on and so forth. That is so World of Warcraft right there. And as far as interpretation goes, the different artists that are out there, since we're on the subject of dwarves, let me finish showing you the rest of the Titan Forge stuff. Look at all these bases that you get. This is what you get with this month's release, Patreon, for $10. Everything that you've seen so far, plus this stuff.
Wife didn't go for your pitch to get an Elegoo, huh?
Pardon?
I'm reading the chat, sorry.
Oh. Well,
Grumpy said his wife didn't go for buying the Elegoo.
Yeah, I just saw that. It just popped up on my end too. Well, Grump, I'll give you my phone number, and you can have me talk to her about how much money you'll save by going that route. I don't know, maybe if things work out the way I'm hoping and everything like that, maybe hopefully before too much longer I'll be able to give one or two of them away. Don't hold me to it. That's going to be on Elegoo's shoulders. Working on it.
Yeah, the only thing is, first they see that all the people print is toys, and they don't realize there's actual things you can print that are useful.
Oh, yeah. And,
once they see that, it's like not too hard to convince them.
Yeah, let me get a couple other things pulled up here. It's upcoming. Yeah, the Dragon Empire stuff, that blew me away. I showed this stuff off last stream that I did last Monday before, I ended up having to bail on stuff. And
Yeah, that dragon's awesome.
Yeah, you're not gonna print that with an FDM printer.
I'd give it a shot, but I'm a nut job, but it's fine. You spend about 3 or 4 hours picking apart pieces and hoping you don't break it off.
Well, and when you're working on detail that small as a painter, okay, FDM lines will just drive you fucking crazy. I mean, if looking at the I don't have the magnifier. Once you look at this stuff under a magnifier, you'll get disappointed with FDM in short order.
Yeah, no, I can tell that it's a huge difference. I mean, I did those micro pirate ones I showed you,
Yep.
and at that scale, I know FDM would have made it look like crap. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, I don't even know how I'm gonna paint these, but they're
Yeah.
awesome details.
Yeah, because remember, these are either what's called 32 millimeter, and anybody who has been working with the printers can, look, 32 millimeters is not that tall,
No,
but that's basically 32 millimeter epic scale, but a lot of people squeeze these down to 28 millimeter, which I do a lot of that. So inch-wise and everything like that, that's, you're looking at her at about 1.5 inches.
right.
So there we go. There's one of my favorite buds right there. Well, okay, Grump, that's something else too. If there are particular models that you're looking for, I can usually find them, and it doesn't matter what the subject is. So I either got them or know where to get them. So, okay. That's all old stuff. Let me go back to... And let's see, let's pull up. We did Titan Forge, Heroes Infinite, Artisan Guild.
Sorry.
Yeah. These guys will also blow you away too. Let me get this pulled up. Yeah, I'm leaving the sound off. I mean, you guys can check them out too if you want to. These are more, a lot of their stuff is very World of Warcraft in style. See, and if you're familiar, or you will become familiar with a term called kit bashing, that's basically taking bits and pieces of other models and putting them together to make new models. What's
Yep.
really cool is you can actually move this stuff back and forth between, excuse me, you can move this stuff back and forth between the other model sets and stuff like that easy enough. You kind of bump things up a little bit here and move things along. But okay, everything you're looking at and then more, you end up getting with the monthly Patreon on that. And when you join these Patreons, they all typically or usually have a welcome package. Or kind of like a freebie package that everybody gets that is typically or usually a whole nother... this is part of the welcome packages, the welcome box for this one. These guys rock. I wanted to do a set of those, and okay, those are, I think they're scaled 32 millimeter epic size. I was going to bump these things all up to 50, 60, or 70 millimeter and paint them up. I want to put those with my music collection out in the living room just because. Ogre Marauders. Somewhere. You see if they actually have the link to it. That's the pre-supported welcome box. I think I can pull it up this way. Yeah. In addition to those models that I showed you, you also get this stuff as part of their welcome box. There you go. You're actually looking at the whole thing here.
Hey, BIOS, those lines you're getting that you posted on the Nexus, that's more or less your leveling in your bed. That's what's causing those lines.
Get this pulled up here. Are those all like first layers?
It looks like it's like a combination of being too close and too hot.
Yeah.
Because you're getting that
final
feeling
layers? Yeah, that's too hot.
It might be a tad bit too close too, I think.
Well, if those are top layers, well, the piece that you're just say the one on the top, how thick is that model? Is that just like a millimeter or two thick or something like that?
Well, those are his final layers, so I'm thinking, like I said, I'm thinking it's
Well, that's why I'm asking the bigger. I want to know how thick the bottom piece is. You know, in other words, how thick is he going from bottom layers to infill to top layers?
right.
How many top layers you got? Oh, no final layers. Well, technically, on that part of the model, if that thing is printed all in one piece, except for the purple, I mean, we know that. If that's all printed in one piece, and if that's only 5 or 10 millimeters, and you're getting that effect on the top layers, that is still your top layer setting. Top layer setting, you know, affects all final horizontal surfaces along the height of your model. How many top layers do you have set? I'm almost kind of in the back of my mind. I've already got a number kind of picked out and everything like that. That looks like standard.
He's got 3.
If it's set to 3, I'd probably bump it up in most models, especially over broad or wide surfaces. I'll bet that the infill on that is set to about 15, which basically means that the infill is pretty sparse on that. Try bumping your top layers up to 5 or 6, and more than likely that will go away.
I'd still probably drop the temp like 5C.
Well, yeah, temperature still has a little bit to do with that, but you're still going to get a little bit of that, or the likelihood of that happening is also going to happen if you don't have enough top layers. Because remember,
Right.
3 top layers at 020, standard is 020. That's barely, or that's right around 060. Okay, which really isn't that thick. You can shine light through it. Yeah, bump your temp down maybe like 5 degrees and add your top layers. Now, truth be told, almost all of my models, regardless of what they are, I almost always default to like 5 or 6 at least. And if I've got a really big piece where I'm kind of trying to cheat on the infill and kind of keep the infill really sparse, I'll even bump the top layers up to 6 or 7. So yeah, the gyroid infill messes with my OCD. I think it's really cool looking and things like that, but I can't walk over to a print while it's printing and look at it. It's kind of like that. You know how people have that phobia with holes? And then you get all the morons out there that Photoshop all of the lotus blossoms and crap like that, and they do the peanut butter holes in their hands and shit like that. That stuff creeps me out. And
What's the bed temp on this?
should be 60 if I remember.
No, I know. I'm asking what he actually got it set to. Okay, it was at 60, so it's not going to be a residual heat. I was just trying to make sure because some guys will crank up their temps.
Hey, you could put a flex plate on it and crank it up to 80 and everything will stick.
Yeah, including the stuff you don't want to stick.
Yeah. Okay, I just finished my Gatorade, folks. I gotta hit nature call. I'll be right back again. Sorry.
The final 5 minutes, you turn off the plate. That shouldn't make a difference. And like I said, it's PLA, so I mean it's PLA plus, which I'm not sure about eSun, what they recommend. Because I got some PLA plus that runs at 230, believe it or not. But you're getting that warping. I'm thinking it's a temperature or something.
Yeah.
You're 5C too hot.
And because your infill is probably still set on that big of a piece, your
Right.
infill is still probably set to like 15, 10 or 15. That's going to basically allow... have you guys ever done a print with really big infill and heard the print whistling while it's printing because the air from your fans is blowing down into the infill?
Yeah.
I've had the gyroid infill actually whistle before.
Yep.
So
Drove me nuts. I'm like, what's wrong? Oh, it's the damn.
you don't have to print the whole model or anything like that. You could actually just cut like a section of your base plate, you know, the circle that you got at the top there. You know, just slice it and cut it into a square just so you can kind of test the infill and the top layers and everything like that. And I'll bet if you use like the concentric, which is kind of like that sexy Prusa infill, if you change the infill, that might even solve it too. I mean, because between your temperature and maybe even the infill, what's happening is you're either getting uneven cooling and your temperature, and the parts of your top layers aren't adhering to the infill.
Yeah,
in
so
time.
it's getting too much heat, and then you have the normal cooling, which is cooling off the
You're back.
sections faster than the top fill's going on. That's what I'm looking at. It getting wavy. Yeah, it's always fun when because you have a quiet printer now. You're like, okay, I don't hear that, and all of a sudden it starts making noise, and you're like, what is that? And then you realize it's the fans blowing through. That's always fun. I had one that it sounded like a train coming. I was like, because once in a while we get by me, you can hear the trains. So I was like, why? It's a really weird time to be having a train. That was my printer. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. It's not the normal train that comes through. Welcome back, Len. Anytime. I was messing with some of the red clear from Elegoo. Did the Snailian. I think it's going to look good with LEDs. Because I made them completely hollow. But that's the kind of detail you can get with the Elegoo, which is nice. I'll be back.
Almost back. What did I miss? Yeah, Lunatic. Taz has been running those polycarb wheels for a while now. He's been pretty happy with them. I'm sure he'll also speak up when he gets back too. '69. I don't know if Taz answered you or not. You were saying was on the Mars or the Saturn. Are you referring to his fan duct? Oh, oh, he probably showed something else. Yeah, that was on the Mars. By the way, he doesn't have his Saturn yet. I'm almost back here. Yeah, I get to by next stream, which will probably maybe not Monday, but Wednesday. I'm gonna have a lot of resin prints to show off. I'm getting into third gear for working with that stuff right now. Finally. Yeah, Taz Lunatic was asking about how the polycarb wheels are working out for you.
I think they work great. I mean, the regular ones, I've been getting all kinds of like weird black dust all over my prints from those wheels. They just kind of like deteriorate or whatever. Don't have any of those issues now. But I'm gonna have to cut this short tonight. Sorry, bud. I gotta get going.
Okay, yeah, we're not too far out either. We're going on 2 hours, which is just about normal. Well, we're not doing a 4 hour or a 5 hour tonight, so yeah, I'm not too far from it myself. I'm just going to bring everybody up to date on some of the new stuff going on and leave it at that. I've just about had it. It's been like really hot here today too. 69, my main resin rig, I don't have one because I've got about a dozen resin printers and I use them all. My current favorite right now are the Elegoo's, both the Mars and the Saturn. The Elegoo's, either the Mars and the Pros. I mean, I've got both. I like the Pro only because I'm well aware of the pluses that went into it, and for me, they were worth it. but I'm getting just as good a quality out of the regular Mars, and that level is phenomenal. The Mars and the Pros are allowing me to retire a series of other resin printers that I got. And as soon as the rest of the Saturns come in, those are going to be replacing the larger format. And there's also, I'm not going to give away too much, there's also a 13.9 inch on the horizon. I will, Taz, take it easy. I'm going to put you on coffee here since you're bumping off. I'll talk to you talk to you a little bit later. Sleep good, dude.
All right, man. Later.
Yeah, the slideshow on the lab cams for other people that kind of came late to the stream. That's the beginning of the Elegoo wall. I'm swapping printers around. I was doing that earlier today, and I'm also retiring some of the other farm printers and some of the prototyping printers that I've got in celebration of, if you will, a new feature that I'm putting in on the Nexus. I'm building and just finalizing, making it look pretty. A marketplace for you guys to use. It's not reseller based. In other words, there's not going to be any stores or companies or anything doing anything on it. It's just for you guys to buy, swap, trade, and there's even an auction feature that I'm going to let you guys use if you want to. I've got, at any point in time, I've got 6 or 8 printers that I'm looking to retire, and I'd rather them go to somebody that I can help along the way with. So that's going to be coming up on the site pretty soon. Yeah, Mark, for you've already stated that you've already got some experience with the printers and stuff like that. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but just remember it wasn't too long ago that we were paying 80 and 90 bucks on average for, you know, a liter of resin. You know, right now you can get some really damn good resin. Hey, corn-fed. Right now you can get a decent liter of resin for about 30 bucks. And for what you can get out of a liter, you know, when it comes to, you know, printing models and stuff like that, that's getting right in line with FDM printing as far as costs go. You know, you just, when you're putting that much resin into a tank and everything like that, you better know what you're doing, because a large model or a large print with failures and things like that can get expensive. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you're there. I don't have to tell you about the fun we used to have before when things were a lot more expensive either. So also, let me get rid of this here. Something for some of you people out there that do have the Mars, one of the things that's out on the market, let me get this. If you have ever had a resin printer with a tank that sprung a leak, yes. If you haven't, you will, but you can save yourself some grief. I came across a product out there made by Mach 5, and it's basically a vinyl overlay. Yeah, it's basically a vinyl overlay that you end up putting over your LCD. And some printers, like the Wanhaus, some of the other ones, they've been using everything from 3M tape to electrical tape around the edges of the LCDs. That's ucky, that's bad. This company, this guy or whoever this is, actually, you know, came up with the idea, and we discussed this before, you know, just never bothered doing anything with it. This guy basically uses a vinyl removable vinyl cutout to actually put down over the LCD. And I have had for a while, and I just got some new stuff in because I wanted some fresh stuff to play with. This is why, you know, I don't have stores. Okay, these things right here, you get a package of, I think, 3 of them. Yep. 3 of them are like 15 or 20 bucks. Okay, and you may never need to replace it. You know, if you ever, when it comes time to replacing your LCD and everything like that, if you're really careful, you won't have to bother replacing that stuff. But here you go. This is a 24-foot roll by 12 inches of the same stuff for $8. So this will last you forever. These you'll be replacing forever, and eventually, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the bottom feeders out there are gonna start doing the same thing and slapping their company logo on something like that. It wouldn't shock me at all. But you can get the same thing for about $8 and cover your printers for life. You just got to cut them out yourself. I'm working up a STL that you guys can print with your FDM printers if you got one. That is basically a template or a stencil that you can actually lay down and just use an X-Acto knife and cut them out yourself. I'll be releasing that here pretty soon. So, other than that, if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, like, follow. You don't have to subscribe. That costs money, but if you do, that's not gonna, you know, if you got Twitch Prime or Prime through Amazon and everything like that, it doesn't cost you anything. You can subscribe that way too. Also, advertisement wise, let me flip over here and get this up. You guys will see on the Nexus, the top ads that are floating through on the Nexus here, you'll actually see that we have been, and I recently started streaming additionally also to Mixer. Mixer is a Microsoft platform for streaming. Last week or so, or late in the week before, Mixer announced that they're selling their crap off to Facebook, which for me, that's like a ugly no-no. Don't want nothing to do with it. So the Mixer stuff, if any of you guys are watching on Mixer, I don't have that console up right now. You guys gonna want to change back over to Twitch or over to YouTube. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. And let's see, I already let you guys know there's, on the Nexus, there's going to be a new buy, sell, and trade feature going in for you guys. It's for users only. So you don't have to worry about getting badgered and pestered by resellers or anything like that. It's so you guys can trade stuff amongst yourself. Doesn't cost anything. I'm not making anything off of it. It's I'm just facilitating you guys being able to buy and sell stuff and trade stuff, barter, whatever, you know, for stuff amongst yourselves. Well, hey, Mark, when I release the printable stencil for people to work with, I'll also release the actual tracing of the, let's call it a gasket. You might as well. I'll also release the tracing, so you can probably just throw that or import that into your stencil cutter at the high school and go from there. And in the top pick section that is going to be going in for the resin and the DLP printers here sometime over the next week, it'll also have the links to the vinyl that I found and everything like that, so you guys can hunt that up easy enough. You got to be careful, anybody that's looking to do that. There's different types of adhesives on this vinyl stuff, and you got to make damn sure that you get the stuff that is not permanent. Not permanent is not good, because then when you know, for whatever reason, just say you do get a leak and you have to take that gasket off to, you know, clean things up, you're going to break your LCD. That's why you got to make sure that you get the stuff that has a removable adhesive on it. And there's different strengths to those adhesives. This stuff that I got a hold of, I'll try to get some alternates so that there's more than one to pick from. But the one that I got, I've already tested and played with, and it's perfectly fine. These other ones, there's also, like I said, if you want to support the company that's doing it, it's called Mach 5. You can go on Amazon and look them up. Just Mach 5 resin protectors or vat protectors. You can look them up that way, but they're not cheap. They're like 15 bucks or something like that for just 3 of them. You know, you can buy them if you want. I'll be nice, I'll put the links up for that, but the ones that I got for myself here, being that I have the vinyl and everything myself, I'll probably do a giveaway for the Mach 5 ones. You know, I'm not worried about the money or anything like that. It's just I'm not going to use them because I'd rather make my own. We'll go from there. Okay, folks, I think we're at well over 2 hours. I know it wasn't as crazy of a stream as it normally is. It's had a pretty rough week and a half here, and I'm still kind of bouncing back from it. For those that are new to the stream or don't know what's going on or anything like that, my doggy passed away last week, and on that level they're a family member, so that kind of fucked my shit up for the rest of the week last week, and that's why we had no streams, and it's kind of why earlier this week really not a whole lot was going on either. So dealing with it. Unless anybody has anything else, I think we're gonna, yeah, thanks Cornfed, appreciate it. We should hopefully, I should be back streaming Monday. Hopefully I'll have some more news for you guys. Earlier in the stream, you guys can watch it later, I did post the winners of the artillery competition that went on last month. For those winners that are going to be getting the filament, you guys are going to be getting contacted by artillery through email, and we'll keep you guys updated on that. Other than that, that's all I got. It's hot as hell right now. I'm going to go dive into the AC for a little while and probably grab another bottle of Gatorade or something and pass out for a little while. Yep. Yeah, everybody, thanks for showing up. Appreciate the support and everything like that. I kind of apologize for, no notification for anybody or anything last week, but, it caught me off guard too, and I'm still dealing with it. So we'll go from there. Have fun, everybody. Thanks for showing up.